Hey guys, I'm speaking for Buck Primitive. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I kind of do a little bit of a knife sharpening for dummies, okay? And I don't mean to insult anybody out there. I myself, a few years back, was a dummy when it came to knife sharpening, and I'm still learning it. There's a lot of factors when it comes to sharpening knives. I'm adding this to my equipment care and use section because I'm going to have a couple videos coming out this season on different care and use, which is maintaining and taking care of our equipment, sharpening our blades and our cutting tools is part of that. And well, like I said, you know, we all start out in this season. I'm gearing towards people who might be beginners, just getting out in the woods, just learning this. I want to talk to you guys and get you guys some good basic skills and set up for success and not for failure. When it comes to knife sharpening, there's all different kinds of gimmicks out there. There's all different kinds of techniques out there, and everybody will post up videos talking about this technique, that technique. None of them are wrong. None of them are wrong. Some are more skilled than others. Some take more time than others. Some take, you know, a little bit more patience than others. But none of them necessarily are wrong. And you know, and I'm not trying to downplay any of those. But what I want to do is I want to get you squared away, because if you're new and you're just going out and buying a knife, I just did a video on one of the different kinds of grinds. So say you saw that video, you said, okay, I'm going to go buy my first knife. I want to buy this knife. Alright, cool, now how do I keep it? I never sharpened the knife before. You know, I don't want to start you off, and I don't want you to start off, and I didn't start off, because I did it first, you know, when I wanted to learn how to sharpen a knife, I went and looked at some videos and saw all these nice techniques and tried them, and I butchered some blades up. I really destroyed some knives. It's not hard to destroy your knife sharpening it if you're not doing it the right way. And so I wanted to set you up with a couple ideas to take out with you to help you prevent yourself from doing that. You know, and while you're learning those skills, you can have one sure method or easy methods to sharpening a blade. If you are going to buy some kind of gimmick or some kind of sharpening device or some kind of system, I suggest you go out and buy yourself a cheap knife. Go out and buy yourself a piece of crap knife, something that you don't mind if it gets butchered, it gets destroyed, and learn with that. You know, if you buy this little fancy little thing to put your knife in, and it has a little rod that does this and a little part that does this, you know, buy something cheap that you do not mind destroying. Use that knife to learn how to use that piece of equipment. Do not go out and buy a $250 high quality bushcraft knife with a fine detailed edge and great superior workmanship, and then buy this sharpening gimmick, and for the first time you're trying to use it, you destroy that $250 knife. Alright, saves you a lot of heartache. But for this video I want to talk about the flat grind. You know, I got my open out here. And then I got, you know, I got this Gerber, this little Gerber knife, which has a double bevel. It's a flat grind with a double bevel. And I even got my little Boker, which is a flat grind with a very, very small secondary bevel on it. And each of these knives, I like this Boker. It's one of my prized knives. I actually refurbished this. This was one of my father's, and it's kind of one of my keepsakes. So I definitely am not going to butcher this knife up. I'm going to take care of that. I polished it and refurbished it, took it apart and cleaned it up, and just to kind of retain its beauty, because the old American-made Boker knives were some beautiful knives. I collect a whole bunch of them. I got my Opinel, which is a straight flat grind. I've been putting it through the ringer, testing it out, so it's gotten a little wear to it. Then I just got this knife just to pull it out to have another knife. I don't care too much for this knife. It's just not ergonomic for me with my hands. I got a disabled hand, so yeah, it's just a little uncomfortable for me. I don't use it. Plus, I'm not a fan of that. I like Gerber knives, but just the way this blade is, just didn't work out for me. Well, let's get you set up. One of the quickest and easiest ways for you to sharpen your knife, and this is from Smith's. You can find these at Walmart, hunting stores, almost anywhere you can find these. They're only a couple bucks a pop. But it's just a little sharpening tool. I put a lanyard. It doesn't come with this lanyard on it. I put this lanyard on it so I can secure it to my gear, secure it to my day pack. It's always in my kit, or always in my pack somewhere. So I have it out in the field. But when it comes time to sharpening a knife, you know, while you're learning all those new fancy equipment, fancy gimmicks, start off with something basic that's pretty foolproof. This sharpening device is pretty foolproof, okay? I'm not trying to sell you something that's going to be all fancy or need a lot of skill, because you don't really need much skill. If you could put a knife in a hole, you can use a sharpener. Now what this sharpener does have on it has two different sharpening surfaces on it. It has a coarse carbide, which is up at the top, then it has a fine ceramic. Excuse me. Now obviously that coarse carbide is what you're going to use if you totally butchered up a knife. You got some notches in it, you got some edges, you know, maybe it's a little dinged up and you got a little bit of burrs on your knife. And I'm going to say out of these three, this open one is probably the worst going. What that carbide does, and this thing's pretty easy. You can set it on something flat. If you're careful, you can set it on your leg, and you just put your knife in there. You're not going to put down a lot of pressure, but enough pressure for it to scrape on those carbide blades in there, and just draw all the way back. Nice, even movement. And you'll feel it. You'll feel it as you pull it through. Like, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you'll see the sharpener kind of jiggle right there. Right there it catches. And what that is that's where I have a little burr, where I have some burrs in my blade, and those carbide scratchers in there, carbide pieces of metal, are catching that, and they're working that out. Like I said, I'm not putting much downward pressure. I'm just putting enough pressure that there's a little bit of friction as I pull back. And now what I'm feeling, the more and more I do this, the less and less I'm feeling that blade grab into those carbide sharpeners, and now it's just one little tiny spot, and now it's almost gone. Okay, so that carbide alone just ripped off all those little burrs and all those little nicks I had in that blade. And you saw me flip it over. The reason I flip it over, because inside that, I know I can't show you on the camera, but let's see, I'll use these two sticks here. Just imagine this is one carbide blade and this is another carbide blade that's right behind it, alright? So what you're doing is you're actually drawing that knife blade straight through in the V. And that's what's shearing down or carving off that metal. Now, the reason I flipped it over is because if you look at that, obviously one's in front of the other, right? So there's a little sliver. It's just me. Maybe it's my OCD kicking in, but there's just a little bit of sliver of knife that's not getting sharpened on the one side, so I just flip it over. Like I said, that might just be my OCD kicking in. But regardless, that's as easy as that. Oops. And what that did, and I can actually look at it and I can see, you know, the fresh metal compared to the little bit of metal that has a little bit of a staining going on to it. And now I'll flip it over to that ceramic side, and that ceramic side is what's going to give it that nice fine sharpened edge. Now I don't feel any grab. Now if you flip it over and you start a knife on the ceramic side, and we'll talk about how often you need to use the carbide here in a second, but if you do flip it over and start on the ceramic side and you feel it grabbing, don't continue on that ceramic side. Take it over and work it on the coarse carbide side until you don't feel it catching anymore. Because that'll let you know that's what that carbide's for. The ceramic is for actually polishing it and giving it that sharp edge. The carbide is for taking all those burrs and stuff out. And that is, whew, that's got a nice little edge on it. And that's just a little bit of work. As I was sitting here talking to you and doing it, it gave a nice little edge to that blade. And now this ain't no, you know, sit down with, you know, your 5 different, you know, types of Japanese whetstone and polish it and stropping it super samurai sword sharp. But that's good enough. That's definitely well sharp enough to get me through the day or get me through the woods. Like I said, I'm talking about a kit that you can carry with you, something that you can take with you and work with out in the woods. And you know, I could do the same with my poker. Now my poker, I know this doesn't have any nicks or burrs in it. I haven't sharpened this since I refinished it. Now, what I was saying earlier, I said I was going to mention about which one to start with. If you know you got nicks, you can see you got nicks, or if you know you just put your knife blade through hell and you want to get it real sharp, start with that carbide. But if you're just doing general maintenance, okay, so like say I just sharpened this. Now tomorrow I go out and I whittle a few twigs. I really didn't do much to damage the blade, but I just want to clean off that edge and give a nice sharp gleam to it. I'll just start with that ceramic. I don't need to go to that carbide side, because the thing you got to keep, remember, that carbide is ripping metal off. Okay, it's tearing off all that. So the more you use that carbide, the more you're tearing metal away from your blade. It's not damaging the blade because it's sharpening it, but it is taking metal off. It is thinly shaving metal down. So you're not going to sit there and run your knife through the carbide side, 5,000 times, because then you'll have a little tiny sliver of knife. If I just went out today and after sharpening this and just ran it through a couple twigs and a couple sticks, cut some cordage with it, notched a few pieces of wood, I'll just take it and run it through that ceramic. It's like I'm doing with my poker, because I know my poker does not have any of that. I just got done refurbishing it. So I'm just going to take it and spend some time running it through there. Alright. And it's getting there. I got to put a little bit more work on this, because like I said, I just got done polishing down this blade from it being all pitted and rusty. But so I have some work to it. Now with this Gerber, same thing. There's no nick, so I could just go straight to the ceramic side and keep sharpening. And of course, be careful. Like I said, you're not putting a lot of downward pressure. One reason you don't want to put a lot of downward pressure is for safety. If you have it on your leg like this or something, and you're pushing down hard, it slips, then you can cut yourself. Keep your fingers back. Don't put it, and be mindful of your fingers. Don't hold your fingers on the bottom. Don't hold them like this, because I shouldn't even have to explain that to you. If you don't have common sense to figure that out, then you shouldn't be sharpening a knife. But so I'm just going to sharpen that, and like I said, this is just the basic of basics of basics knife sharpening I'm going over with you, because we're going to upgrade from here on. Okay, I wanted to get, if you're an expert pro knife sharpener out there, which I'm sure some of you that are watching are, or at least think you are, then this is not for you. This is for beginners. As I said in a lot of my videos that I'm doing this season, this is for the beginner, okay? Someone who's never sharpened the knife before, doesn't know what to take out. I don't want you feeling like you have to go out and purchase all these things and get mesmerized by all these techniques and styles, because I can sharpen this thing about 50 different ways. But the quickest and easiest, cheapest way for you to sharpen your knife effectively as a beginner, without destroying or damaging your knife, without having to learn a whole lot of skill and a whole lot of practice to use it, is by buying you one of these little Smith sharpeners, or one similar to it, with the coarse carbide and the fine ceramic, and throwing that in your pack, secure it down so it's always there. So you can go out there at the end of the day when you're sitting by your campfire getting ready to go to bed, you can whip out your knife, because you used it a little bit, you can take it to that ceramic side, you run it through a couple times, and you're giving yourself a nice little edge. Or if you know you chipped it, bounced it off a couple rocks, did whatever, you can go to that coarse side and slide it over. Oh, there's a rough spot. Pull it through until you feel that rough spot go away. Because there is absolutely none on this one. I'm not trying to brag, but I did a good job refurbishing this knife. I'm actually impressed. I'm not bragging, I'm just impressed. And then I can go through and sharpen it. So that is my knife sharpening for idiots. For dummies, myself included, obviously, so please don't take offense. But I hope if you never sharpen a knife and don't have any knife sharpening equipment, or are trying to learn to get into it, I hope this video helped you. And that was the purpose of this video, is for sharing knowledge and helping you out, getting you set up. Next time I do some sharpening videos, we're going to be advancing and adding on some more different techniques. And once again, this sharpening device is for flat grinds, and flat grinds with secondary bevels, hollow grinds with secondary bevels. Okay, this is not for Scandinavian grinds. Do not put your morer through this. Okay, if you put your morer through this, you will put another bevel on. you will ruin the edge of that Mora the way it's designed. Okay, that Mora is purposely at a perfect 45-degree angle from the blade, and the angle of that blade is what gives it, of the actual edge, the cutting edge of that knife is what gives it its superb cutting power and superb sharpness. Putting it through this will destroy it. My next sharpening video I do is actually going to be on how to simply sharpen a Mora. Okay, that's another knife out there that so many people have so many different ways to do. I'm going to go over a quick basic way of doing it. So if you've got a Mora, don't run out and buy one of these yet. Alright? If you got anything else, go out and buy one of these, put it in your kit, and or something similar. I'm not trying to sell this brand, but this is the Smith's brand. I bought this at Walmart, I think, and it's pretty. It was worth the money because I keep this in my kit and I use this constantly. I use it constantly when I'm in the woods. When I'm at home, I use different techniques, which we'll get into in the future, more advanced techniques. But out in the woods, this is what I carry. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. If you got any questions or comments, please private message me. Comments on that. I have no problem fielding comments. I like them. No problem fielding questions. I like them. Just please, I'm professional in my videos, professional in my responses, and in my comments, please be responsible and professional with your comments and questions. I'll appreciate that very much. I'm sorry to speak with you.